Hi, my name is Erica Williams-Arevalo, and this is my week one post, discussion post. So we're going to start at the neighborhood and community. I lived in a very diverse, blue collar communal neighborhood. Um, Everybody in pretty much in the neighborhood knew each other. It wasn't uncommon for all of us to uh, go to plays or to church or eat at each other's houses. Everybody knew each other. We helped each other out when we were sick or when we needed help. uh, we also, we kept it clean. There was a lot of kids in the neighborhood, and we all played because we all went to the same schools practically. um, some of the people that lived in our neighborhood at the time, they all worked where my mom worked and my dad. So that was another way that we knew each other. When I was, sometime I split my time between one town, and then I would go see my dad um, for special occasions. And when we lived there, the neighborhood was the same, but it was a little bit more upper class than what I was accustomed to. But the people were still the same. I mean, they would still come over to the house and we'd watch TV or do things together. Now, in the summers when I stayed with my aunts and uncles, sometimes it would be at the farm or it would be in the city. So, and then again, their neighborhoods were the same. So, neighborhoods growing up for me was like a second family. I mean, it was really, really nice. Family structure. Um, my mom uh, was a single parent for the longest, and my dad was her next door neighbor, and so here came me. But my family structure was my mom for the longest. She was single, and then she met my dad, number one, and he left, and then my second dad came, and I there's three men in my life that I call dad or father or whatever. But my second dad, he was nice, he was funny, he was just happy go lucky. He wasn't as strict and stringent as my mom was, because my mom was like a person that was very um, down to earth, but she was strict and she gave you that tough love. My second dad wasn't so much like that. But my third dad, he was very sweet and nice, and he was not as strict. He was like my mom, but he was a little bit more understanding. But he still had the same values. So whatever family we had, I mean, whatever family I was around at the time, we all had the same values. We loved each other, we took care of each other, we, pulled our weight within the family. Um, and I had relatives that lived down the street. So it was not uncommon for me to have a big family on the weekend or spend time at my aunt's house or spend time at my dad's house. But mostly it was my mom and my sisters. And we all got along. So the family structure was very loving. Sometimes it was chaotic, but our family was just like any other family. Okay. Types of schools. I went to a private Christian based school. Um, Matter of fact, it's not around. It's not around anymore, but it had pre-K up to 12th grade, and it was uniformed. Um, some, it was a mix of children. Um, it was really nice. I mean, that's all I can say about that. I mean, I still have memories of, sitting in a classroom that was first and second grade. You had pre-K and kindergarten class, and then you had a first and second grade class. Public school was, your basic public school, which was a shock to me because of the way that I grew up in the private Christian sector. That when you got to public school, it was like you really had to learn and to be, you know, aware of your surroundings. I mean, it wasn't as close knit like it was, but my teachers, my private school teachers were very nice. They were very supportive. Public school teachers, some were nice and some weren't. But I guess that's how it goes. Type of environment. Like I said before, my environment was loving. It was stable. We didn't move a lot. So, in my whole time of being a child, my mom always made sure that, it was stable, it was loving. She instilled values in us. And also, you had to work. I mean, you'd come home, do your homework, and then you had chores. Me being the eldest, my mom leaned on me a lot. So, without being another male figure there for quite a long time, I was helping out with, making sure she got ready for work sometimes, and learning how to cook, taking care of my sisters, that kind of thing. So you really had to work. And since I was, the oldest, always had to do a little bit more than the others. Um, my mom came, my mom's aunt took care of her when her mom died at an early age. And so her aunt and her husband was in the military. So my mom had a military kind of like lifestyle. Um, she was on time, precision, neat, clean, and ready to go. And so she instilled that in us. We had to get up, we had to get dressed. Um, Everything had a place, that kind of thing. So that was her childhood growing up. My fathers, whenever I was in their environment, it was loving, it was stable, but it took a while to get used to. Sometimes because, as a single parent, you know, sometimes we had to move along to, other people's houses and adapt to their rules because my mom worked maybe 2 or 3 jobs at the time. So let's see. Schooling, kindergarten through, like as I said, kindergarten through second, it was a tight knit community. I mean, you could walk in and all the teachers, all the kids, mostly all the parents. Everybody knew each other. We had a breakdown of kindergarten through preschool and kindergarten, first and second. So it was smaller kids, smaller ratios. So you were able to have those very good teacher-child relationships. Um, but after going to preschool, in kindergarten and second grade, my mom was like, okay, well, let's try public school. That was the opposite. I mean, you're walking into a classroom and then there's already like 20 kids in there. And so sometimes you weren't always seen. And, you had some teachers who taught like the book, had like no emotions, and then you had some teachers who were very loving and had emotions. Sixth through eighth, that was junior high. We had I had very good teachers and counselors. They were supportive and they were watchful. They really came out and talked to you and asked you things and make sure they paired you up with a mentor, and uh, a very good environment for anybody to thrive. I mean, sometimes you would get in trouble, but it was almost as if it was the kindergarten community. And it was a pretty big school. I mean, it was a pretty medium school. So, freshman, senior year, wild. That's all I can say. You had teachers who cared, teachers who did not care, counselors who came, counselors who went. I was very busy in high school, doing talent shows, art shows, this kind of thing, but I kept my values. I was not allowed to go to a lot of functions. So, mostly some of my good years were during the day because in the evenings I worked. After that, I went to continuing ed for child development, and those classes were nice. Um, as you got older, people would help you out, and they would encourage you to be who you wanted to be. But sometimes uh, it was chaotic because I was married, working, and trying to get a credential. So, continuing ed really gave me that shot. College, very supportive. And it was, again, it's like a community. I can call one of my advisors and we can pick up where we left off. And now that I think about it, I guess, what I looked for, what, I was drawn towards, or my parents were, was tight knit community. Okay. Let's see. How I got my name. My mom always told me it was Scandinavian, and as I got older, she told me the truth, which was my family, the women in my family, after they got off, because they had a rotating shift, after they got off whatever shift, they would record or watch their soap operas, which was Young and the Restless, General Hospital, All My Children. And so my mom really loved All My Children, and so that's where the name Erica comes from. So I don't know if there's anything special about that, but that's where the name Erica comes from. Advice. My mom was always the advice giver. And so one of them was, keep your job until you find another, never quit a job and have nothing lined up. My mom was a worker. It wasn't uncommon for my mom to have 2 or 3 jobs. So she would always tell us, save your money, but never quit a job and have nothing lined up. So you didn't want to be caught out there, in a sense. Keep your word. If you're going to tell somebody something, and you're going to do it, keep your word. That's all you have in this life. Don't bite the hand that feeds you. Again, people who take care of you, don't backstab them. Just remember, there's somebody who's always going to take care of you. You're not going to ever fully take care of yourself. So treat that person with respect. Again, treat everyone with respect. Growing up in a Christian home, honor thy father and thy mother, and listen to your elders. That's what we grew up with. So, back then it was kids were seen and not heard. So we would sit and listen to our elders and make sure that we wouldn't bring any shame onto our fathers and mothers. So whatever they said, you did, and there was no questions about it. And for my dad, one of my dads, he always said, "Don't be Willie Lunchmeat." And for the longest, I thought, "Who is Willie Lunchmeat?" But as I got older, I asked him, "Dad, what does that mean?" He says, "Don't believe everything you read, hear, or see. Don't be fooled. Think with your brain. Just don't be a sucker." And that's it.